Hey, welcome back, everybody. Good Friday evening. Hopefully, we had a wonderful week out there and hopefully getting ready for the weekend because we've got a lot going on here from Hurricane Ernesto continuing to move towards Bermuda to storms back home. All of that could be followed up by our first widespread shot of fall like air going into next week. And after that, yeah, the tropics may be coming back to life here as some of our models are hinting at some long range development. So, we're going to talk about a lot in today's video for you, break it all down for you, and give you the latest information. Now, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Gerald. I am a meteorology major at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte here to give you the latest information on weather back into the United States, Canada, and what's going on in the tropical Atlantic throughout much of hurricane season here. And again, it's already been a pretty active one, and I imagine that will continue here as we head towards peak season into September and towards October as well. Now, if you haven't already subscribed, definitely do that. Also, hit the bell for the latest notifications, like the video, and comment. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you're a returning viewer, you'll probably notice, yeah, things look a little bit different behind me. I did just move for the new school year, which starts on Monday. So it's going to be a pretty active weekend for me. I've got some student organization things to take care of and looking forward to the start of the new school year. So that's a little bit about me. Definitely let me know if you have any cool weekend plans as well. Alrighty, with that said, let's go ahead and start talking weather here because, again, it is pretty active. Now, I have satellite imagery here up to start like normal, but instead of looking at the tropics to start off, we're going to take a look at a little bit of both on satellite here because, again, the two big players we're going to talk about are luckily fitting here on the same image. So the first one is obviously Ernesto. That's been the big storyline for the past really week or so. And unfortunately is still a story as Bermuda is now feeling those impacts and will continue to feel those impacts throughout the day today and into this evening and even into tomorrow as the kind of core of the storm moves on by. Now, after that, some of you folks in Atlantic Canada could also get in on some impacts from Ernesto, but luckily doesn't look as big of a storm for you as it will be for Bermuda. Now, back home, our second area to watch, yeah, this big old kind of spin you're seeing on satellite. This is a pretty solid little low pressure system right over the heart of Minnesota and Wisconsin currently, and will continue to slowly spin and work its way across the country. But before getting out of here and bringing that nicer air behind it, we're going to see a pretty widespread severe weather threat the next couple of days here in this warm sector. So ahead of this thing, it still feels pretty muggy, pretty humid. Again, is going to help to fuel some of these storms. But after it, on the backside, we're going to get a big rush of some cooler, drier air. And the models have actually uptrended with this. It continues to look better almost every model run. So that's something that you can really look forward to, I think, going really into the middle of next week here as we try to slowly get towards that ending of August. Now, we are going to start with Ernesto because, again, that's kind of the big storyline and has been. And I know you folks in Bermuda are dying to hear about it. So, again, we'll start there on satellite this morning and really just the past 24 to 48 hours. The good news is Ernesto has not hit the top of some of the models' intensity forecast. Now, again, this is still a powerful hurricane pumping out 100-mile-an-hour straight line winds with gusts, even above that. So, a strong storm that obviously we need to take very seriously, but luckily isn't a major hurricane and very likely won't get there. So on satellite, the main reason we're not getting that super strong wind with this storm is how kind of large the center of circulation is. So you're thinking, well, it's good that we're not getting the big high wind numbers, but kind of a con of this big elongated center of low pressure at the surface is it expands the wind field. So while the winds aren't as strong, they're more widespread. So that means everyone on the island of Bermuda is going to get on at least tropical storm force winds, likely many of you even hurricane force winds here by the time all is said and done and things really clear out by Sunday. Also, the storm already really becoming extratropical. If you look at this, this is kind of some fronts already beginning to attach to the system, and you'll notice some of this drier air on the backside. It's well on its way to becoming really just a good old-fashioned mid-latitude cyclone, but again, still holding on to those tropical characteristics for now. All right, latest cone from the National Hurricane Center here. We can take a look at and kind of analyze it a little bit here. So as I'm recording this, I'll refresh this because we might have a brand new one now. But at the time I'm recording this, still a 100-mile-an-hour Category 2 hurricane. So powerful, definitely. Anything kind of 100 and above, I would consider a powerful hurricane, and still expected to move either right over or right next to the island of Bermuda as a strong Category 1, borderline Category 2 hurricane, getting into tomorrow. So this is 2 a.m. Saturday on this forecast. Again, you'll notice the line basically going right through or right next to the island. And it's kind of crazy to think how small Bermuda is, yet this hurricane decided to go basically right over that coordinate point on the map here. So again, because that hurricane warnings are in effect for you folks. Now, the good news is by the time we get to Sunday, the storm will be pulling away, and the front side of the storm is probably going to be worse than the backside. So it should clear out pretty quickly tomorrow evening and afternoon. And then again, by the time we get to Sunday, really all clear. Now, my folks watching up in Canada also wondering about this storm, saying, well, what about us? Yeah, some of you definitely are in the cone. And, I even had a comment the other day telling me exactly what this part of Newfoundland was called, and I, for the life of me, cannot quite remember it. But you folks kind of into the St. John's area, Bay Roberts, Bay Bulls, and these kind of general areas of Canada definitely are in the cone. But the good news is, again, likely the center of circulation to go south of Canada and not make a second landfall along the places that you folks live. So definitely good news there, but we still likely will see some impacts before eventually Ernesto moves out to sea and towards Europe as an extratropical cyclone. All right, wind speed forecast here. Again, tropical storm force winds are basically guaranteed. If they're not already happening in Bermuda, they're going to start here pretty soon. And then after that, we are going to see some, chance for gusty winds up into the areas of Newfoundland. But I think really the highest chance is going to be along the southern shore, if I can draw with the right color here, along the southern shore of the island. Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, not really your storm, luckily. So, kind of take a sigh of relief as this one kind of moves on past you. But there will be more storms this year, I'm sure, that we'll have to watch out for in this part of the world. Now, hurricane force winds, again, Bermuda, you're basically almost guaranteed to see it. Canada, it's really unlikely anyone outside of Bermuda is going to get any hurricane force winds with this system, which is good news, obviously. And we, again, will count our blessings as we move on forward. Now, latest forecast here, this is for this afternoon. I'll go ahead and move this into this evening. So again, here's Ernesto. Heavy rain and wind beginning into the island of Bermuda will likely continue through much of the overnight tonight and even into tomorrow morning. But the storm has trended a little bit quicker. So I think by Saturday afternoon and evening, there will definitely be some gusty winds. Definitely that for sure. Probably still gusting in a tropical storm strength. Some heavy rainfall. But things should begin to clear out pretty quickly as the storm moves off. So how strong are the winds going to get? Well, again, still pretty strong here. We are expecting winds to gust up from 100 to 130 kilometers per hour here. Sustained winds, again, will be lower than that, probably closer to 80 to 100 kilometers an hour. But a pretty feisty storm here. And for Bermuda, you only get so many because of your general location here. So this will definitely be one that you probably remember for a while as you're kind of dealing with those impacts. But again, the good news is the wind speeds died down a little bit. This is early Saturday morning. Again, still gusty for sure, but throughout the afternoon as the storm pulls away, slowly getting better. And by the time we're into Sunday morning and afternoon, just a breezy day, but not really even tropical storm strength by the time we're into Sunday evening. So it's gonna be a tough one tonight and tomorrow. But after that, conditions definitely look to improve. All right, our folks up into Canada, again, the track of this one's going to likely go just south of you, but do know we will see some outer bands probably through the southern shoreline, of Newfoundland, I'm having trouble talking all of a sudden, during Monday evening for sure. Again, main impacts just going to be rainfall and some gusty winds. And again, it'll be a pretty quick moving storm by this point in time. It'll probably be in and out of here like that. And be gone come Tuesday afternoon. But there will be that same low pressure I just showed you over Minnesota, at the beginning of the video, that will then be moving through and could bring some, rainfall as well. But at that point, that's, not as impactful of a system as a, hurricane would be for sure if it were to come ashore. But again, looks to be just south of the island, gusty winds, heavy rainfall. How gusty are the winds going to be? Again, really going to depend where you are. But if you are along the southern sections here, we could gust up to maybe 50 to 75 kilometers per hour at times. But again, that might even be pushing it if the storm's just a little bit further south than this. All right, so what's up with the Atlantic after this? Are we going to be done? Is hurricane season over? Well, I can basically guarantee you the answer to that question is no. In fact, latest ensembles this afternoon are slowly picking up on another storm potential on down the road here. These are our European ensemble members, and it doesn't look like much, but this is a pretty substantial uptick from what we were looking at just a day or two ago. in the main development region of the Atlantic. And I've been talking about this all week. I think the end of the month to the start of September, things are going to pick back up. And this gets us just to the 26th of August. So that still leaves almost an entire week after this in the month. And you'll notice things slowly picking up here, as I've kind of expected here. And, I'm not the only one that's saying this either. The experts as well are hinting at this possibility. So watching this definitely looks like something, along the horizon here could develop. But I do think the next week or so we will be in a lull. Now, we could see these trends uptick, but storm activity wise, in terms of what's ongoing, we should get a little bit of a break here for the middle of the month. But again, as we get to the end of August, all signs are things are going to pick back up, and even our latest operational European run here is hinting at that here for the end of the month. Again, this gets to the 26th of August. You'll notice, look at some of these waves coming off of Africa and getting into this main development region of the Atlantic. Very well could develop into tropical systems as conditions begin to improve. And again, getting closer and closer to peak hurricane season. So we would expect any of these waves to have a chance at developing. So definitely watching that. And again, the experts also agree. I've shown this picture a couple times this week already, but global tropic hazard outlook, yeah, we've got a good 40% chance of development, maybe even higher than that, here into the main development region of the Atlantic. Into the 21st through 27th of August. After that, from the last week of the month to the beginning of September, this is the highest level they can put. That dark strip of red you see there, that is potentially a greater than a 60% chance of tropical depression or greater strength development in that region. And again, depending on steering currents, could be problematic for the Caribbean, the Gulf, the United States, maybe even Canada. Again, we'll have to, definitely keep an eye on this as we get close to peak hurricane season. So, after Ernesto here, we're going to get a slight lull, definitely, I think, for a good week, but still looking at the potential for things to track. And even if the tropics aren't active, yeah, it's pretty active back home as well. So, taking a look at the latest radar that is ongoing. So I say the latest, it's live basically. Here's that system. Here's that low pressure spinning over Minnesota and Wisconsin. Again, you'll notice that spin is pretty easy to see on satellite, and we are seeing some showers and storms up into this region today. In fact, we can't even rule out maybe a strong couple of storms here on this kind of southeastern side of the low pressure system. But the bigger deal is going to be further off to the south, kind of in this bigger pocket of the United States that is in that warm sector in front of this low pressure. So we're definitely going to see some storms fire up. We're already seeing some today, and because of that, we are going to see a severe weather risk. So basically, anyone in this area this evening could continue to see stronger storms, and even down in here too, kind of an enhanced, or not an enhanced risk from the Storm Prediction Center, but a higher than low, I guess, chance of severe weather, as we have a couple of better ingredients back towards Oklahoma, Kansas, and into Arkansas. So watching out for that, and watches, warnings, and advisories. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch up for a good portion of Oklahoma, and even into the Ozarks here, parts of Kansas. So I mentioned, again, in that area, we're going to see some stronger storms. Outside of that, no other watches, but we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings into eastern Tennessee here and through the Knoxville area, seeing some strong storms this evening. And again, any of these could get into the mountains and over the mountains towards the upstate or parts of the western Carolinas. Again, it's going to be a pretty stormy evening for a lot of folks, but today's not the end of it. Tomorrow we'll do it all again. We've got a big marginal risk up from the Great Lakes all the way back down towards Little Rock, Nashville, Jackson, Chattanooga, and even kind of a higher risk, or a level 2 out of 5 here through Bowling Green, Louisville, Cincinnati, and kind of that area of central Kentucky. So going to be some strong storms today, and even look at the map in other places. Honestly, I didn't really look at this ahead of time, but we even have a slight risk back through the Pacific, through parts of Oregon and Washington. We've got 2 other marginal risks back into actually 3 other marginal risks, one up into Montana, one through the plains of Colorado and Kansas, and then back into the Rockies through Utah. So, we've got some pretty good storms to watch for here tomorrow, and we'll do it again on Sunday here. A slight risk already up. In fact, this was just issued by the Storm Prediction Center. They now issue 2 3-day outlooks a day. So this one, again, kind of new and, out of the norm to get, but slight risk for Raleigh, Fayetteville, Columbia, back towards Columbus, Georgia, into southern Alabama, into the PD of South Carolina, the Sandhills of North Carolina, and a marginal risk spreading out from Philadelphia all the way, again, back to Little Rock. So going to see some strong storms here the next couple of days as this front moves on through, and we can take a look at that here on our latest high-resolution rapid refresh model. So this evening, again, no, we're going to see some storms from the Appalachia chain back into the deep south. Again, some could be strong to severe. Also going to see ongoing rain showers and some rumbles of thunder up into the Midwest. Some of those storms could try to become severe, especially down through the Chicago area, where we have a little bit more instability to work with. Now, overnight tonight, the severe threat does die down a little bit, but depending on where you're at. Now, again, this evening and overnight, look at some of these storms rolling through the Ozarks and through the Tulsa area. Those could definitely become strong to severe, something you're going to want to watch for here. Also, some rain showers still going through Michigan and into the East Coast as well. But likely tomorrow afternoon for our Saturday, we're going to kind of rejuvenate the atmosphere a little bit. Now, again, overnight tonight, definitely watch this complex through the Ozarks. That has a higher chance of severe weather. Other than that, most of the other places that are seeing rain should just be good old-fashioned rain. But again, tomorrow, Saturday, we're going to wake up. We're going to see more showers and storms. We're going to see the atmosphere refuel itself. And by the afternoon hours, more storms break out with severe potential through the Ohio River Valley, into the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, even portions of the Southeast here for our Saturday afternoon. That will continue again through the evening of Saturday. Basically, anybody's got a shot at severe weather here that sees these showers and storms move on through. And then again, we die down a little bit in the nocturnal hours and we kind of refuel it up again Sunday afternoon, and we'll do it all again in those threat areas I showed you. So a lot of us going to see severe weather. Even if you're not seeing severe weather, rain chance is going to increase from the Northeast through the Great Lakes region. I don't think it's going to be a washout any day for anybody, but definitely scattered downpours for a lot of folks going through this weekend. So if you got plans, definitely, take that into account here for your forecast, as we're watching that. All right, now the part that you're probably a little more excited for, that nicer, drier air on the backside, it's definitely something I think that's coming, and here's why. The same reason we're seeing all these storms is the same reason we're going to see this drier air, a big-time trough, kind of the first, deep diving south one of the late summer and into kind of, not the fall yet by any means, but getting closer to fall in that time frame. And again, it's a sign of things to come. The jet stream dipping further south, getting closer to the equator here as we change the seasons. And because of that, we're seeing more energy in the atmosphere. That's creating those storms. And on the backside, as that trough pulls away next week, we're going to see beautiful dry air work in. So this is tomorrow afternoon, Saturday. It's a muggy mess for most people tomorrow. Unfortunately, again, it's not going to feel very good this weekend. Dew points in the 60s and 70s. Same story Sunday afternoon for a lot of folks, but watch what's happening here. Notice so we're kind of getting this pocket of a little bit of drier air. It's the beginning of it, but it really ramps up into next week. This is going now into next Monday afternoon into Tuesday. Look at next Tuesday afternoon. I mean, this is real-time dry air. This isn't just dew points getting down towards 65, which is a slight relief. These are dew points down into the 50s for cities pretty far south. Nashville, Charlotte, Greenville, Spartanburg, Atlanta, Birmingham, the Ohio River Valley. It's going to feel beautiful probably Tuesday. The interior Northeast. Now, some folks still going to be holding on to more muggy conditions along the coast and into Florida. But I do think, even you folks come Wednesday could see some drier air work on in here. And look at this. This is a cold front trying to push all the way down into Florida, for our Wednesday afternoon. So it's going to be a beautiful middle of the week coming up. I know a lot of college campuses starting classes, obviously me included. So it's going to be, kind of a great way to ring in that first fall feeling here. And it could hold on through the middle of the week even. And then we'll see kind of what happens going into next weekend. But I think this will be a good couple of days of some nice more fall-like weather with at least some drier air. And it even won't be as hot. These are potential high temperatures next Wednesday. A lot of us only getting up into the 70s and 80s through the Ohio River Valley, the Midwest, the Northeast, and through the Mid-Atlantic. Now, unfortunately, our folks back towards Texas and the deep south, South Central Plains, not so much for you. It's going to be hot. And in fact, we're also, again, I should have mentioned this probably, we're still going to see pretty unfortunate dew points out here into the Great Plains. As again, that trough brings cooler air down here, but then that's going to ramp up Gulf flow back out to the plains. So again, not everyone getting in on that drier air kind of west of the Mississippi, but east of the Mississippi, yeah, absolutely, it's going to feel great. All right, so 6 to 10 day temperature outlook probability. Again, this is just kind of reflecting on what I just showed you. The next week or so, it's going to feel nice. So, get out there and enjoy it. It's also going to be a tad drier for most folks here. getting into this same time frame through the Midwest, the Ohio River Valley, and much of the East. Could be slightly above average precipitation out west and into the Gulf Coast. And even portions of the Carolina coastline there. But overall, things are looking pretty nice here in the medium to long run. So with that said, I do appreciate y'all joining me here again for this video. Sorry, I did not have one out this morning. I was still kind of setting all this up. I'm sorry, I just hit the mic as well. So yeah, again, I appreciate y'all joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Enjoy it, and I'll see you all tomorrow morning.